with Jenny and Jenny. This is the Noonas podcast with Jenny and Jenny.
Dual set.
Heart to heart. Noonas podcast, Nida.
Welcome back once again to the Noonas podcast. As always, with your hosts, Jenny and Jenny.
Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon.
Whenever you're listening to our lovely little show here. Not as much news this week as we had last week on our show. We were kind of talking off mic. It's like, of course, we had 1 week where it's just like all the news come right at your face, and then the next week we literally have like nothing. I think all we literally have to talk about is COVID cases, because that seems to be the hot topic currently.
Or it seems to be like a common thing. That's where, like where people are getting it now, unfortunately. Yeah. Like, I know it's not as severe as the first years of COVID, but still, pretty bad. And, people are catching that, the virus.
Feels like Omicron's really hitting South Korea pretty hard right now, because it feels like literally this week, every day, a new idol was diagnosed positive for COVID, and we're going to get into it a little bit. Before we get into our massive slew of reviews this week, because we didn't have any last week, which was good because we had our Ho Anthem playlist last week to share with everybody. But we finally got some new music coming your way as we're getting ready to kind of ramp up, I think, new releases and new debuts. No debuts. Well, actually, no, excuse me. We do have a debut this week, technically.
Yeah, like there's some incoming debuts, but it's getting pushed a lot, postponements. Yeah. But we've been anxiously waiting. We've been anxiously waiting for a lot of these groups to come on the scene for the K-pop industry, and it's a lot of promising music. And I've been watching a lot of their teasers, so it's pretty exciting.
It's getting to be a very exciting time, and a lot of big groups, especially this week, announcing comebacks for March too. So we have some stuff knocking on the door for March already. I know already this week I'm seeing previews for Stray Kids already announced their teaser trailer for that, which holy horror / Alice in Wonderland / I don't know what in the hell that trailer was, but okay, hi Felix.
Right. I have no idea.
I don't know why. Thanks, Stray Kids. And then also, I know this week I know both Red Velvet and Idol have announced comebacks for March as well. So those are to look forward to coming up in March as well. But this week, we got a bunch of new music. We, like I said, have a debut this week from the girl group VIVIZ, which is technically 3 of the members from GFriend. I guess almost re-debuting as a brand new group. And we'll kind of get into a little bit of their debut, because they technically debuted last week, but we didn't want to cover it because they literally debuted as we were recording last week, so we didn't want to we wanted to give them a fair shot and a fair review on our episode. But we have a review from them, as well as new music from solo singer Taeyeon, who is a former member of Girls Generation.
Former member, or just solo member?
I guess solo members, because I don't know if she's
I think
Girls Generation.
I don't know. It's been
occasionally does stuff, but not as much anymore. It's more unit stuff, because members have left Girls Generation, and Girls Generation being the iconic second gen girl group.
Probably the girl group, in the second gen of K-pop.
Right. Yeah, if you knew girl groups when you're into K-pop back in the early to mid aughts, it was Girls Generation. They were the group. And we have new music from her with her third full-length album this week, INVU, as well as new music from Epik High, which I know we've both been looking forward to this one. Epik High is here part 2, as well as second gen girl group Apink, who's now in their 11th year together, which I had to take a double take on that. But they're in their 11th year together, and their new album as well, Horn, as well as some smaller releases this week too, and a long time coming comeback for Treasure, who I feel like didn't put out anything in 2021, or if they did, it was very little. And I know they had some Japanese releases, but
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
pretty
think they
much
had any
it.
major Korean releases. And then a new single released from one of our favorite soloists, Wonho, formerly Monsta X. But yeah, we got a bunch of new music this week. But before we get into that, though, I guess let's just do this whole like COVID wrap up, because holy cow, like I said, this week was just insane in terms of like COVID news. Like we have delays. We have debuts delayed. We have literally like every single day, like somebody new getting COVID, or announced who got COVID this week. And I think it's been from like Sunday the 13th on, in terms of like who got COVID and who got announced with COVID. It was just kind of a mess. So, and I think one of the first ones I know I saw was San from ATEEZ getting COVID yet again.
That was sorry. You don't mean to laugh. We don't mean to laugh. It's not a laughing matter. But we just like, yeah, it was like, wow. When I saw that news, I was like, damn, again. That's pretty much my first thought.
I'm not gonna lie, that was my thought too. I was like, not again. And it's like, I know they're vaxxed. Like even the statement came out saying everyone at ATEEZ is vaxxed. And the thing is, this poor man had just literally flown back from Korea from the United States, because ATEEZ kind of stuck around a little bit after their last show in LA, to do some things around LA for a little bit, and then like half of the group flew back to Korea, and then the other half flew back a couple days later. And he literally got back to Korea and tested positive for COVID. So, yeah, that was just like, and like I said, he got it previously back in August, like on his birthday last year. So I don't know if he's got like a weakened immune system or something, but I don't know. But I mean, it sounds like he's taking good stride. I know he's been very, very active on Twitter and on Universe, cheering up the fans and stuff. He's been taking it in pretty good stride. He's been asymptomatic too, so.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. At least so.
Good.
Not he's like suffering through another,
through
another symptoms again.
And I also know the same day, Eunkwon from B2B also got diagnosed with COVID, which is a little scary because they're literally having a debut, or not debut, they're having a comeback next week. And it's a big comeback for B2B because it's, again, with all 6 members of B2B now together again, because they're not 7 anymore, unfortunately, but with all 6 of them together, having a big album release on Monday. Doesn't sound like it actually postponed the album. Sounds like it's still coming out on Monday, the 21st. But yeah, no, it sucks that he got COVID as well, because I think out of all the members of BTS, I think Min Hook's the only one who had COVID, and that was a while ago. I think that was back in the summer as well when Min Hook got COVID. So, but it sounds like I think he's doing good too. And like I said, it sounds like everyone who's been COVID is beginning like Omicron, so it's been like pretty quick in terms of like recovery and stuff. And I think South Korea is a lot like the United States, where they've shortened the quarantine system and stuff, because all the research now is pointing that like this is pretty quick. I know also on the 13th as well, like this is all around the 13th and 14th, so it's like past weekend. It was also announced that the whole entire group of Tempest, which is a group that I've been talking about on the show, that I'm really looking forward to their debut. They were literally about to debut next week on their schedule. Unfortunately, all of them got COVID. And because of that, they actually are postponing their debut from I think they're supposed to debut on the 21st, and they're postponing it now to March 2nd. So they're giving him about another 2 weeks to recover from COVID before they actually do their debut. And I'm kind of bummed out because I've been really looking forward to seeing like them finally debut, because I've been watching their dance covers and stuff. But I just hope they all can heal up from COVID quickly and pretty quickly. But it's like like all 7 of them get COVID right before debut, and like literally a week before they're supposed to have their big debut. But hopefully it also clears up their, makes it a little easier for music show schedules, because the competition right now has been pretty tough in music shows. So maybe it'll be a little easier
no
on
kidding.
March 2nd. We'll see. And then I feel like, God, when did Taeyong V from BTS get diagnosed with COVID? I feel like that was on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it was this week, but I think I don't remember if that happened on Tuesday.
I think it was announced on Tuesday that V from BTS was diagnosed with COVID, now making him the 5th member of BTS to get COVID. Now the only members who haven't had it are J-Hope and Jungkook.
Well, knock on wood, man.
And I know, like I said, knock on all the wood. Also to note too, because it was also they were also letting everyone know, because apparently they had finally all gotten together that previous Saturday. BTS, so they had, because again they're still kind of on their hiatus.
But they're still getting ready for like their concert too, and it's also as well as a new song too that they announced from Big Hit, a new song that will be playing in the concert. They
announced because they announced this week too that there's gonna be their Permission to Dance in Seoul will be happening in early March, the weekend of March. I think it's March 10th, and then the dates, the 12th and the 13th, there will be show dates as well, which will be streaming online as well as in theaters across the world. If you're interested in seeing BTS, you can watch those online as well as in your local movie theaters. Tickets are actually going on sale right now, if memory serves correctly. But yeah, there's announced a new song as well as basically those show dates. But yeah, I think they're trying to kind of get ramped up and ready for that. So they were all getting together, I think, on that Saturday. And thankfully, the rest of the members tested negative. But unfortunately, V tested positive for COVID. So he's currently recovering from COVID. And then it was just announced, actually, on Thursday, another big hit group, Tomorrow by Together, Yeonjun, the oldest member of Tomorrow by Together, got diagnosed with COVID. So I don't know if it's just going on in the Big Hit / I building or what's going on with that. But he got diagnosed with COVID, and it sounds like I think the other members of Tomorrow by Together are okay. I don't think they they tested negative, so I think they're okay as well. But it's just like I said, it was like almost every single day, like somebody new is getting COVID. I mean, they said also I think one of the members of Idol.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, Miyeon from Idol.
Yeah, she got diagnosed this week, as well as one of the members from the group NMIX, who's supposed to be debuting next week as well. I believe it's member Bae, who they're supposed to debut on Tuesday next week on the 22nd. And so because of her getting diagnosed, and it's just her getting diagnosed and nobody else in the group,
so far, and there's no one else.
Yeah, so far nobody else has gotten diagnosed, because that was just literally announced yesterday on the, what day are we recording here?
Yeah, they're just gonna postpone their showcase or their debut showcase later on.
Yeah, their debut showcase is going to be on March 1st, compared to it, I think, originally going to be on the 23rd when they debut. But their debut is still going to go off on the 23rd.
Yeah, their music video. Yeah, their music video on the 22nd. Which
they still have been dropping teasers for, left, right, and center, as of like.
Yeah, they're one of the most anticipated, groups for this year too. Cause a lot of traction for NMIX as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because being a YG girl group. There's
you mean JYP?
JYP, excuse me. JYP girl group. Definitely a lot of attention, a lot of eyes on them currently. I mean, heck, that teaser they just dropped earlier this week had a lot of Stray Kids vibes to it. The bass drop sounded very Stray Kids to me.
Yeah, very. I like how we said on our because we watched their other debut concept teaser. Kind of has like a lot of like elements from existing groups such as Luna and Hypen, aespa and Stray Kids and all, like even ITZY. But for here, it feels much more different, but we can still have like a lot of stuff that reminds us still with a lot of groups. So a bit challenging because trying to like to try to like make themselves more distinctive Sorry, that's an accidental pun. Trying to like make them some more distinguished from other groups,
Mhm.
but yeah, NMIX is still really anticipated, like because they've been getting a lot of like views in their teasers itself.
Right. Exactly. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes next week, and hopefully nobody else in NMIX gets COVID. Not gonna knock on all the wood. Then nobody else in NMIX gets COVID before they debut as well on Tuesday. So yeah, hoping for that. But yeah, that's, I guess, my wrap up of COVID news from Korea this week. Like I said, thankfully most everyone's been recovering pretty well, and they have pretty good quarantine like locations. In Korea, like they send everyone to like a quarantine center, and like it's all pretty good. So everything's been pretty good. So at least from what I can tell from San, because I've been following him pretty well, because like he constantly tweets and constantly is on Universe chatting with fans. So he's very social. But yeah, I guess with that news, I guess we should just get right into our music reviews.
Let's dive on into the music reviews.
We got a lot of music this week, like I said. Six new releases that we're touching this week. And let's just, I guess, get right into it. And let's get into our first one, which, like I said, was a debut. And I believe they debuted back on, when did VIVIZ debut officially? Back on the 9th, February 9th of this month, with their album, with their first mini album, Beam of Prism. And like I said, this is the group VIVIZ, which is, like I said, is three of the members of GFriend. I will say Idol. That's the wrong group. Three of the former members of GFriend, who, if you guys remember, towards the end of last year, GFriend all of a sudden just Source Music just basically kind of came out of the blue and stated that GFriend is no longer going to be together, and they're officially disbanding, and that kind of just caught everybody off guard.
Oh man, do you remember that one of the rappers in the rappers, I think it was Lil Uzi Vert. This was right before like they disbanded. He was like talking about like GFriend, my ultimate K-pop group. I don't care, what happens to them. I don't care if they disband. I don't care if like they did this. GFriend, my ultimate stance. And then like days later they disbanded, and apparently he went on private in like mourning for their disbandment.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, everyone. Like, I was just looking at the comments, like someone could find them now because they disbanded. Like, where the hell is he? And like, he went on private.
Somebody find this man. Make sure he's okay. Like, seriously. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's really passionate when he's talking about GFriend, but I love someone like him is like he's such a good such a big fan of like even a girl group in K-pop.
Right. GFriend was around for a good long time, and like I said, they had some really good stuff. Like we were really liking Mago, and Apple, a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, Mago was like their last single together.
Right, and I really like Mago, and then all of a sudden they're just gone, and which is kind of like,
I know.
That's weird. But yeah, so VIVIZ contains three members from GFriend. The three members being Yoonha, Sinbi, and Eunji. Kind of fascinating, actually. So VIVIZ in Korean, it's the way it's like pronounced in Korean is VIVIZ. So
VIVIZ or something like
VIVIZ, because there's really no like B sound.
B.
They kind of use the B sound. So it's kind of fascinating because the name is kind of translated into different ways. So they're using the group's name also stands for like Vivid Days. So Vivid Days, as well as the fact that in the Korean, the BIVIZ also stands for the three members, their actual names. So for Yoonha, Jungyoon B, Sinbi, Hwangyoon B, and then for Eunji, so BBG. So it's kind of a cool.
That's a creative.
It's very creative. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like actually, tying everything together in a nice, package. Like they really thought about like their name in a very creative way. So, because sometimes you just think about like the names of the groups and you're like,
Yeah, like the
why are you?
LP something, like we feel like we could have like made our podcast like JG or something something like that. Like
Right.
probably like the JG
But then,
podcast.
right, exactly. But yeah, like that's actually kind of a creative way to like use their names and kind
Yeah,
of make it a very, very distinctive name. And like, I mean, VIVIZ is kind of like a very cool way, like the way it's stylized, like it does catch your eye.
We should
But
make
yeah,
we should rebrand our podcast as Jeju or something. A Jeju podcast or Jezzy or something. I don't know,
I
Jezzy.
don't know. I don't know if we're too far along now with like 40 plus episodes under our belt.
I know, like we're gonna rebrand. We're rebranding. We're gonna re-review. It's like a new face.
Who knows?
We're
Maybe
still gonna do the same thing though.
maybe down the line if we like decide to retool the show or whatever. Maybe eventually down the line. I don't know. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, they debuted on the 9th and they actually have seen a lot of success with this album.
Oh yeah,
like
no kidding.
It's peaking around number 2 in the Korean charts. They just got their first win on M Countdown yesterday for their title track, Bop Bop, which,
Bop,
I mean, a week into their debut, that's impressive to get a win.
Yeah, I think I could have sworn that they had 2 wins already. But yeah, I might have.
Yeah, I think they just got the one because like I said, I've just won again today for the 13th time on Music Bank. But because I think they just they're officially eligible for music wins yesterday because I feel like it's always like a week after the song comes out, like they're officially eligible. So
yeah, so they got their first win on Show Champion, and then their second win was on Music Bank. Or M Countdown, okay. My mistake. M Countdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got 2 wins under the belt already.
Yeah, 2 wins, yeah.
Oh, nice. So yeah, like I said, they're already seeing a lot of success. But yeah, I mean, as for the album itself, for us doing the review of the album itself, just kind of getting into a bit of the back history of the group. But for the title track itself, Bop Bop, it kind of feels like it is something that almost like I feel like it would have been something that would have been GFriend carrying on.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because after like their last concept, which is more like the 70s funk disco era, from like their warp. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Warp. Can you help me out?
Boogie Night, yeah.
Yeah, where they had their Mago, their Mago era. But it feels like it's like transitioning on, with just those 3 together with that like a similar concept, but it's more like a sci-fi space oriented type of like concept. Because but it still have the essence of like that kind of like genre music, but I love how they kind of made it different and made it more like sleek and very much more metallic with its like visuals. So it's very appealing and very visually interesting to see that kind of style. But it's still like a smooth transition from like their GFriend days and then to like their VIVIZ days.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because like when I first listened to it, I'm like, this is it kind of has a disco-y sound like Mago had, but it's still very boppy, bop.
Yeah, the bob.
It feels very fun, feels very flirty. Except it has those retro vibes to it. But yeah, when you watch the music video, it's got like these almost futuristic like not super metallic-y, like when you think futuristic, because it's still super bright and fun.
It kind of reminds me a bit of Kepler's too, because they also have a space theme debut as well. So a lot of girl groups are getting like getting into space. Yeah,
it's almost like a combination of Kepler and aespa, like the best parts like both of those. Like I guess a little bit like aespa too, like with like the first part with them like playing with like the avatar a little bit. Not that that's really brought up again, but like a tiny bit of like some things kind of aespa-esque. But it's not like a ton of stuff from aespa.
It's not like identical or just like
no, not at all. But yeah, I mean, it's like it feels almost like bubblegum poppy, but it's not like super like really bubblegum poppy. Like I said, it just has this like nice fun flirtiness to it.
Yeah. What I also admire here is just like they still continue on with that style of music with the 70s funk disco driven style and into like their other B-sides as well. So I'm kind of glad that they kept it consistent. And I love how they set up a narrative too, because I love, like those intro like tracks. So like they have like that kind of thing that, sets up like how, the whole music is going to sound. So I really appreciate that as well. So yeah, even the intro, like even like transitioned into like the bop bop, like because like it has like the elements of like the music, and then it goes right into the title track. So it's very cool.
Yeah, it really leads into it because it's that nice like transition, the nice storyline throughout the whole entire album. Because you still have these consistent points throughout the album, like you still have this consistent like disco retro style throughout, and it's nice, like I said, to continue seeing that, and like hopefully like that may be hopefully a definite like or defining sound for them to continue on. Like I said, it's nice seeing that almost continuing on from GFriend, almost seeing like a bit of it, like what we could have seen if all six of them had been able to stay together as GFriend.
I can imagine
if Source had not, decided to up and end the group. But yeah, are there any other songs off of Beam of Prism that you really, really liked?
Let me check. Yeah, my favorite track would be I think I only have one, would be Tweet Tweet. Because even though it still, keeps that 70s type of, feel into it, I think it delivers more of like the modern trend of, with K-pop. So it's a really good blend between like the traditional and the modern sound. I really love, I think I really love like the mix between, like the vocals and then like the weird rap music arrangements, because it makes it feel like more distinctive and much more of like the K-pop sound, but it's still their own thing. It's still, it doesn't really go with the standard formula of like the regular pop music you get to hear here in the US or North America standards.
Yeah, I really like Tweet Tweet too. I think that was one of my standout tracks on this album. I thought it was something like almost, I felt like something almost like a little Daft Punkish in the breakdown right before the bridge. Like it felt, it had like little like inkling towards that. And yeah, it definitely has like very much, it is K-pop. Like it's something you don't really find in Western music. It's something distinctly K-pop about it. But it's just, there's a great tie between retro and modern. So hopefully that's like what we can see from the future though. I also really liked Love You Like. Again, I'm just like a sucker for like the slower songs, but I think it starts slow, but I think it picked up really nicely. Like it's not a fully slow song. Like it picked up in this nice like kind of groove towards the end of it.
It's not like super sappy or like like super emotional. It's just like more of like a slow dance kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a nice, slow, sweet song. Just kind of like something you just kind of like rock next to like your lover or something next to. It's just like under the starlight. It was really sweet, kind of sweet. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of what's going to come with VIVIZ in the future. Because, like I said, I think they've had a very strong debut. They really set the stage super well for their future here. And like I said, because all three of them assigned to a new label. So it's not under Source Music anymore. Like GFriend was under. They're under a completely new label. They're under BPM Entertainment now. So it'll be very interesting to see where their future goes from here in terms of future releases and just future music from them. But yeah, like I said, this is a very solid debut. Coming through in a time where there's a lot of really solid girl groups out there.
I know it's a lot of especially with the fourth gen newcomers too. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we still have like the older groups, like either that they redebuting or rebranding themselves as like another face. So I'm glad that they're still holding up to it.
Yeah, and also just kind of gives it nice because it gives us a little bit of variety away from like some of the other like the fourth gen girl groups. I mean, like it's nice seeing like some diversity in the fourth gen girl groups. But it's also nice kind of going back and visiting some of the stuff from like the second and third generation of girl groups. Right. So, but I guess speaking of older girl groups and the second gen and stuff, excuse me.
Are they second gen or like early third gen?
I guess how do you classify Girls Generation? Because I feel like they were second generation.
Because Girls Generation came from like what 2008, 2007, and then like Apink was more of like the 2010s. Like the
Apink was like the 2010s. It's like Apink officially debuted in 2011 because they officially had their 10th anniversary last year. So Apink's kind of like at the turn of like second, third, but like
Yeah,
Girls'
they're in a
Generation
bridge
is like,
between.
yeah, they're that bridge. But I guess let's get into Taeyong first. In her solo album, like we said before, Taeyong.
Oh yeah.
I guess she still is technically a member of Girls' Generation.
Yeah, I think he still associates because they still call like Girls' Generation's Taeyeon.
Right.
And I never seen like former, or like they never describe as former.
Right. Yeah, I think she's still technically part of Girls' Generation, although like I think everything that happens
They're not
with
really
Girls' Generation
active.
is like everyone who's active with Girls' Generation. It's all like unit stuff now, which there really hasn't been like Girls' Generation released in like 3 years or so. I think 3-4 years. It's been a while. But yeah, no, Taeyong is back with her third full length album. Her full length album. This was a full length album. This is a full beast. INVU, which is stylized the letter I, the letter N, the letter V, the letter U. So INVU.
I thought it was like it was first read out as INVU. I thought some kind of like Latin type of like word, but when she sounded it, I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Which I thought was kind of clever, especially once I watched the music video and I saw the choreography, and especially with the hand choreography, I was like, I like that. I really like that.
I was like practicing like INVU. I love that. I love like you. Like
me too.
Kind of like some kind of jutsu, like some kind of jutsu, like on like some guy like INVU. What are you gonna do to me?
Considering how the fantasy elements of the music video, like, it would be some jutsu. But yeah, no, this I mean, I'm trying to think because it's been a little bit for a while since she released like a full length album. I mean, she's been featured on other music we've talked about in the past. Like she's on Taemin's album. When his last album for VIVIZ, she featured on that. She featured on Key's pre-release single "Hate That," which I really liked.
Oh yeah, I love that album.
She's been very, very busy, kind of doing features and stuff. Yeah,
also she's been putting out some singles too, like from the last years as well. Because she did like "What Do I Call You Now," and then after that it was Weekend. And I think before her album came out, it was Can't Control Myself, and then those are included in the albums.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. it's been like singles after singles for her, like in solo.
So she's been very busy doing solo work as well. She's also part of Got the Beat. She's also part of that as well with SM Entertainment, which is again like their girls version of Super M.
The super girl group, pretty much like that.
Which she probably is going to be a big part of that, especially with Boa. I have a feeling because those two I think are going to be like big pillars of that group.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Just knowing SM, like I feel like they're going to really try to focus on having the two of them like almost in every iteration of Got the Beat. I have a feeling. But yeah, no, this album, with the lead single, INVU, which kind of ironically, I don't know if ironic is the best word, but it came out on Valentine's Day of all days.
That's, I said this when I posted it on Facebook. If this is not my theme for Valentine's Day, I don't know what is.
Because it's kind of programming for Valentine's Day, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, and it the whole album in general, because man, after Max Changmin's album and now with Taeyeon, I'm never gonna beat the SM bias allegations seriously, because I think I even like added it like as a possible contender for best like albums for me, but no, really, like I think the whole album and like even the title track INVU, like I think it has something. I think it did something for me personally, like when it comes to like relatable like experience and how I connect with it. I really I think I really like was invested with this song in general.
It just really vibed with you, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty much like the sad sad girl dance theme. Like, like, oh man, I relate to this so much. I can never find love. And then like I'm just dancing to the chorus. I envy you.
Yeah. Oh, like it's definitely sad girl, like sad girl moment music. Like if you're heartbroken, it was
Sad girl
perfect. Like if
dance.
you're heartbroken, if you were heartbroken on Valentine's Day, I would have pointed you immediately to that song. Like that's
You mean like me
this is the
crying
one.
and then like doing the dance?
Like it's like also just because of just her vocals. Like she always has amazing vocals. Like I think
Yeah,
about a
she
lot of
is like
artists, but she
regarded as one of
has
the best vocalists in SM
range.
entertainment.
She's got range. Like she has amazing range, and like with just the R&B like sound she had, like that is all throughout this album.
Yeah,
Like,
not just like having like a really like a really skilled, powerful voice, but like
mhm,
her vocal delivery like does something emotionally. Like she really
yeah,
succeeds in adding that emotional element, into her songs, and like it adds like some kind of story, adds like this like really this emotional connection with like the
mhm,
audience who feel this the same way. So that's why like she really does well, and especially when it comes to her songs, and it has like a lot of like addressing a lot of like these heartbreaking themes to it. I
mhm,
think that's one of her like her go to concepts or go to like lyricism.
yeah. But she pulls it off very, very well. Like, I mean, if it
Yeah.
ain't broke, don't fix it.
Hmm.
It's just kind of one of those things that she really does. She is like she has so much like good control on her vocals that like she
Hmm.
definitely can like impart so much emotional like impact on her music, and I think that's just what draws you in to her music. I mean, that's what initially drew me into her music, her solo stuff to begin with. This is, as I was getting into K-pop, because at that point she's been dropping solo stuff, for a long time. Kind of post, the main history of Girls Generation. Um, and it's something that's just it really does really connects with you again on that emotional level. And because like I almost put up there with IU in terms of like an artist who catches connects with me on
Oh
that emotional
yeah,
level.
that's a good
In
comparison.
hip hop, yeah, like both IU and Taeyong are really really good about connecting with their audience with their vocal, like just that emotional impact with their voices. And yeah, it's just I really really like I admire it, especially just because again she's more on that R&B kind of side of music,
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
use more on the ballady kind of side of things.
It makes it all the more like raw and powerful, when
Hmm.
it comes to her music. And I love how there's like a difference with IU, because I think with IU it's much more whimsical and like a bit of like a traditional, um, like quirky way of like going about
Hmm.
love. But with her, it's more like vulnerable. It's more like like expressing like much more of like the pain and suffering that you have to like go through, that kind of like
Yeah.
route. So it's yeah, it's been such mesmerizing, because I thought I wouldn't like vibe through her music, because I thought she's all about like painful love and
Hmm.
heartbreak. But with this, I think she balanced it well with like a more like groove element into it, and more like where you can dance, and if you don't want to pay attention to the lyrics, you can
Hmm.
like really vibe with with her music itself.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of putting it. Actually, that's yeah. You put yourself in two different camps if you wanted to. If you didn't want to like connect with the emotional vulnerability of the lyrics, and just wanted more vibe with the music, because you could totally do that. But there's just something really great about like combining both of it together and just
Hmm.
seeing the full plot, the full package together. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I envy you. Just one of those songs that just really grabs you, and like the visualization in the music video too is just something like I think you need to see, because it's
You need to
very
check. Yeah, you need to see it, because
it's
yeah, man, a lot of like the
fantasy.
K-pop visuals, but yeah, with this one, I think it really like does well, because it's, the music
Hmm.
itself, it can be melancholic, but at the same time, like seeing the visuals of the music video and the
Hmm.
effects feels so divine and so like filled with grace.
Hmm.
When it comes to her, her appearance and how she is born, and a lot of like the divine those divine aesthetics, because it looks like you're in a heaven, but it's more like a sci-fi heaven.
Right.
because there's a lot of like science, sci-fi, attire that she has, because she almost looks like a space elf, at some parts.
It's almost like a sci-fi, almost like Greek gods kind of
Yeah.
combination. If you really think about
Yes.
it, it is a lot of those
Exactly.
kinds of elements. And it's so fascinating to see because I feel like the vibes in the music video tie so well with the song. Like it's one of those ones where the music video just works perfectly with the song. Like
Yeah.
it's complete. It's complete. Um, and it's hard sometimes to see like say that 'cause sometimes like you feel like the music video is just a little bit like off from like the music and stuff, but this is perfect. Honest to
hmm
God, perfect.
I think this song, even like the music video itself, can go hand in hand with Key's "Bad Love" from last year.
Hmm.
I can kind of like listen to them both, and it has like like the same type of feel or like message when it comes to like you know painful bad love, uh
Hmm.
and also and also have like that sci-fi aesthetic into it too. So since I know since they're good friends with each other, I love how it has like some kind of like companionship with between those two songs to me.
Right. No, yeah, it's kind of a good point considering, yeah, with Bad Love kind of having that whole like kind of very quirky sci-fi aesthetic with the
Yeah, and the
packaging and stuff.
retro sound too.
And yeah, that very retro, like almost like 80s sound to that. And then yeah, just having a very almost like sultry R&B, clubby R&B
Dance,
vibe
yeah.
to it too. Yeah, they really kind of do complement one another. Um for a great for a great heartbreak playlist. A great start to a heartbreak playlist if you wanted. Um, but yeah, is there any other songs? Because you said this album really vibed with you. So is there any other songs that you highly recommend off this album?
Yeah, well, before we get into like my favorite tracks, I
Hmm.
could also say, noticing also more consistent, like a really good consistency with her music choices, because not only that she did do a lot of like those traditional pop sound that you could probably hear from the U.S., but she
Hmm.
really stripped down a lot of like the usual music K-pop production, and goes with a lot of more like traditional instrumentals, because some lot like some of the songs, or maybe even half, have a lot of like acoustic alt rock type of sound into it. I think like there's like where are times where she like has like a guitar elements played in the background. So I
Hmm.
really love like the we bring how a lot more like an alt rock pop sound into this album. So I really appreciate that. That's what I was drawn into a
Hmm.
lot too, as well in the album. So I think one of like the tracks other than INVU, Can't Control Myself. I think I'm growing a lot into the song now, because it has like the more acoustic rock ballad,
Hmm.
and I really love like how it's stripped down to like its more traditional roots in music. My other favorite one would be Toddler. This is more of like a dance synth pop side to her album, and it's more connected with like the musical essence from INVU. My other favorite songs would be man, I could name a lot because I really love like this album so much.
Right.
Siren and Cold as Hell has like a more foreboding tone with their with the song with their songs. It
Hmm.
has a much more heavy bass played in the background. Cold as Hell has like a feels a bit like Taman's Impressionable, because it has like that eerie piano sound in the background that you can hear, like you notice like this the trilling that they did in the piano. And I was struggling to like trying to have like the right term, because like what is that sound in the piano that has like this really high pitched teeny sound. I asked
Hmm.
I asked our resident Opa Chris to if he knows like what I'm talking about, or like what the sound is from, and he said like, oh, it's the harpsichord that they used a lot in the Baroque and like
Ah.
the classical era, like the Renaissance Baroque era.
Hmm.
So like
Hmm.
okay, there we go, that's what it's called. And it
That's what you were looking for.
yeah. So thank you Chris for like finding like the term for that, like what the
Hmm.
instrument. Yeah, but that added added a lot more like haunting, more of like a Victorian type of horror element, in like not full on horror, but it's something like you can hear like from a Tim Burton movie. So like something that Danny Elfman would have like composed with playing with that kind of
Hmm.
piano in there. So I really enjoyed those two
Hmm.
tracks. Um, the last two would be Timeless, because it kind of reminds me of like the song, how she sung it, and even the music itself really reminded me of that 80s song Take My Breath Away, because the bridge where she had her like like that sounded like that, like the walking so anyways, like that's kind of like a personal thing. And then my last one would be Heart. It's another great utilization of like the electric guitar, and love the transition, from the piano chord filled chorus and into a more blues and soul sound. So I really appreciate the more traditional music stuff into it.
Yeah, no, I also really liked Can't Control Myself, Siren, and Heart. Like Siren, I'm going back to Siren. Like it reminded me a lot of CL's song Siren as well. Yeah, like I can find some comparisons between those two. Like just like there's something just super raw about that, and there's something about this version of Siren that could have been like almost used for like a movie trailer or for like a K-drama. There's something almost cinematic about it with the whole package, the whole sound of it. But yeah, it's also again like a nice stripped down like R&B. And then I love that Heart for Heart, how it is basically that throwback 50s, 60s rock soul sound. I really love that when that came up at the
rhythm
end.
and blues, like like right down into its core.
Exactly. And then I Can't Control Myself was right up there with me and my love for alt rock, like that early like late aughts, early 2010s, like alt rock sound. I was just like totally vibing with this. Like that was just that's my bread and butter. So,
it kind of goes well with Rose's type of music style too, because she loves to incorporate a lot of like all like guitar acoustic rock sound too.
Yeah, and it's really really cool because like this was very almost like I don't want to say stripped down because it's still, I think there's still a lot of production to it, but it's really well done production behind this album. And it's just it's nice to like to have the instrumentals shine on this album with her vocal range and just have the whole thing come together, because like again, it's not a lot of the like electronic production we've seen a lot in K-pop. This is really truly at its heart like just really good R&B across the board.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have to agree with you. This like I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this one again. This might have to go. I'm going to start at what you have to do and start making my list early of like top picks of 2022. Too, with Max Chanbin. Chanbin's album from earlier this year, and then there's another album on here too that we're going to review this week that might be in contention this week as well.
I have to figure that out too.
But yeah, this was such a good listen. Like I said, INVU, I was an immediate like save on my playlist.
I like the songs. I already like put it in my K-pop playlist.
Yeah, it's so good. Like this is just such a great album. I'm so happy to like see another full length album come out from her. So this is great. So this is fantastic. But
I do encourage a lot more, K-pop artists to like go with that, like more traditional sound, and just to make like the K-pop, the genre much more diverse and just not be like the typical manufacturer that people criticize them to be. So yes, we more of those types of music too, please.
Yeah, or at least promote like more of this out into the world. Like K-pop's more than just what you quote unquote think is manufactured. There's so much more to it out there. So. And I guess speaking quote unquote more manufactured, do we want to get into Apink or do we want to get into Epik High? Which one do we want to get into?
I thought we were talking about Epik High because that would be like another example of how going back into like not just like the electronic sound of hip hop or K-pop. So
let's get into Epik High then. Let's get into Epik High and then we'll get into Apink next, because like all these came out on the 14th. So let's get into Epik High with their latest album, Epik High is Here Part 2, which is a follow-up to Epik High is Here Part 1, which came out last year, which my boyfriend was hounding me for the longest time. He's like, When is Part 2 coming out? What is Part 2 coming out? When is Part 2 coming out? Like
the Part 2 when? Part 2 when? Part 2 never. No, but
Part 2, I know.
I kind of wish that we brought him along just to like see his word and like see his impression about the album. Why did you invite him?
Because he's at work, unfortunately.
Ah,
But
woo.
I will say I actually did listen to this with him together on Valentine's Day,
Okay.
because I've actually turned him into quite a fan of Epik High. He really does love their sound and their style, to the point that I think we're trying to get tickets to see them in Chicago in a couple
Oh,
of weeks.
I hope you guys
We're
get
gonna
it.
try because everything's on like resale market, but on top of like multiple other K-pop shows I want to see, but um yeah, no, I mean, this is everything I think in terms of, yeah, we were talking about like stripped down again, to like, core elements. Like this is definitely in that. And this is just stripped down to like
Yeah.
core lo-fi hip hop. Like,
It brings me a lot of like, like those 90s sun era of like the golden age of hip hop, like those,
mhm,
like whenever they do like, like good use of sampling of like older music, and as well as like putting more instrumental, just to make it seem have like the classical taste into it. It also
mhm,
reminds me of like another like famous, like it's a Japanese artist named New Jabez. He does a lot of like those types of like nature oriented type of like hip hop, and it's also like
mhm.
low, like down tempo lo-fi chill hip hop. So
Okay.
yeah, a lot of the music from Epik High really reminds me of like that late artist, because he passed away unfortunately years ago.
Mm.
So yeah, it's nice, like that spirit, like still continuing with that
Exists.
type of other
Yeah.
music today.
And it's nice to see this like kind of still existing, like even in 2022, 2021, 2022,
Hmm.
because I feel like this does continue on a little bit. And like what I love about this album too is like there's this full storyline throughout. Just another great album that has like a storyline running throughout the whole entire thing. Like though, like every single song like is telling a story, and there's this whole overarching uh narrative in this whole entire album, kind of this whole like self-reflection, and kind of like reflecting on like almost the weaknesses of ourselves into trying to find our strengths, because there's a lot of stuff that's pretty like kind of like some harsh introspection, especially from Tableau,
Yeah,
I feel like.
it feels like it's going back to like those the conscious hip hop like during the 80s and 90s. So
Hmm.
like they do a lot more, like they dive into a more introspective, like studies about like not just like like the society in general, or like the
Right.
culture of like one group in general, but also like for themselves too, especially yeah, if we want to get into like one of Tableau's tracks here, which I think that's part of I think that would be my favorite
Hmm.
track of all in this album, which was "I Hated Myself," Tableau's word.
Yes, I did, yeah, because that, honest to God, when I first heard it, reminded me a lot of August D's "The Last." If
Oh yeah,
there's a
I see
lot
it.
along that stream. It's just it's not as stream of consciousness as August D's was, which if those of you need a reminder, August D is the solo monkier of Suga from BTS. When he releases solo music, he does it under the August D monkier. And that is off his first mixtape, and that the last is honestly one of his best tracks. Although anything that came off of D2 was like amazing,
Yeah.
but
Oh
off
yeah.
of his first mixtape, like that's one that like punches you in the gut, and it's so stream of consciousness, talking about like his mental health struggles and like suicidal tendencies,
Yeah.
a lot of really crazy like dark stuff, and kind of coming out of that towards the end, and the success he's seen becoming an artist.
Yeah, it makes me feel, because since I really know him best in the Return of Superman, where he takes care of his daughter Haru.
Mhm.
It really
Yeah,
makes me sympathize with him, like even though like he
with
he
Pablo.
he should be happy. Yeah, he should be normally he should be happy, like
Yeah.
he has a family on his own, but it still sucks
Hmm.
that he's like struggling mentally, and yeah, like I kind of like worry, like I hope it doesn't affect like his
Hmm.
state for his family. So it really makes me sympathize with his
Yeah.
his struggles. And even even with me personally, when I when it comes to the music too, like it doesn't go for like the more emotional route, like it doesn't make it too over emotional. So I really
Hmm.
appreciate like when it comes to a good balance of like having like the soothing tranquil
Hmm.
piano sound in this in the background, while like Tableau, punches you with like, like this really distressing lyrics that he
Right.
has, he evokes out. So I really like the good balance, so you don't get too emotional, but you can still, sympathize with him.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a great balance between, like, I think just like the vocals and just Tableau's rhyming, well, his rapping prowess, and just like the lyricism he has, because it really is like some like lyrical poetry I think he has. Both
Yes,
between Tableau, not just Tableau on this track, I Hate Myself, but throughout the album, and even on some of the other tracks with Mithra, like, too, both of them have some great lyrical poetry on this album. Combined again with like this very lo-fi, melodic rap, these great samples that have been created by DJ Tuku, who just, again, his production is always amazing when it comes to these kinds of things. And yeah, it's this whole entire album, like I said, it feels so introspective. Again, against society. It feels very throwback. That introspective.
Yeah, it doesn't go like more. Yeah, it didn't go with the more depressing and somber tone, but I think it really, like, it's more of a pensive route that Epik High is like doing. I think much more than like their first part, which is Epik High is Here Part 1. I think this really goes into like a more pensive way of like discovering and exploring like the human psyche type of concept.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. It's very psychological in a way, almost.
Yeah.
This whole entire album, it's almost like a psychological exercise in discovering or almost rediscovering oneself at this point in your life. Because, I mean, they're all in their 40s now. So, and they're kind of, again, reaching this new point in their lives where, like, they're still seeing success, and like it's kind of like, what do we do now? Like, like they're still seeing success, they still want to make music and tour and stuff, but it's like obviously not like like you were when you were 20. So it's a completely different time. They all have families, and they all are having kids grow up and stuff, and it's a completely different life now. And life is different than it was 20 years ago. With the rise of social media and stuff too, because they kind of poke fun at that throughout the album as well. Oh
yeah, especially with the Face ID, which is included in the album.
Yeah, and even with the first two tracks on the album, with Here / Prequel, because I will say this is an album you need to listen to straight through, not on shuffle. You need to listen to this album straight through.
Like a lot of with the albums that has like the intro tracks, or like the one that has like a consistent like transition into like another song, you never go on shuffle with those albums.
No, and like here into Prequel is like a perfect transition. Like it's so smooth, and then like again the lyrics in that one also like kind of proving, like kind of poking fun again at like the social media and like all that kind of stuff too. It's like I noticed like a lot of that throughout their lyrics throughout the whole entire album, because again this is the life we live now. So yeah, like if we want to talk about the actual title track off of this album. Do you want to talk about Gray So Gray?
I was about to say, like, there's a lot of like feature artists that they that they brought in. So Gray So Gray. I think that's one of like the standout like songs too, like that really stuck to me as well.
And that's the one that they're technically quote unquote promoting as a title track. On the album.
It was like I wasn't sure like which one was like their title track here, because they didn't really say that much.
That's the one they're promoting. I know that's the one they did. They actually dropped like a lyric video, which actually almost kind of works like a music video in a way, because it's very heartbreaking, especially combined with the lyrics of because it's again one of those really kind of, it's like a very heartbreaking and so to know too, this is featuring the soloist Wonho, who I've heard some of her solo stuff. I know she did a feature with RM a couple years ago from BTS. So I've heard some of her solo stuff, and she's got this beautiful melodic voice, and I think it complements really, really well with both Tableau and Mithra with their, because it's a little bit more like them singing than it is rapping.
That's what I noticed too.
But it kind of works because it's a very heartbreaking song. Another heartbreaking song that comes out on Valentine's Day, mind you. kind of introspecting because it's like talking about them like not being able to like reciprocate that love
Yeah.
To the person that they really truly want to love.
I feel it. I feel that song deeply.
It's really emotional, and like the lyric video is, like I said, it feels like an actual music video, and it's done in a very cool retro style, like through like a camcorder.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the video
yeah.
is very cool, like through a camcorder, and it's I think something you should check out.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I should. Because I was kind of like I was having difficulty like looking for like the title track that they're supposed to but yeah, I didn't know Grace so great that they had like the lyric video for that, so I'll
Yeah,
just check it out again.
yeah, go check it out online. It's on YouTube. I really highly recommend to go check that out. Yeah, what do you think about Grace O'Gray?
Yeah, since I think for me, I think I prefer Tableau's word, much more because I think I really vibe
Mhm.
with it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Grace So Great, like I think it hits like the emotional peak of like the album. There were
Hmm.
so many like introspective, really like more of like a ballad, emotional, tracks that they've done. But I think Grace So Great really, I think really hit it high for in this whole album.
Yeah, like the album's laid out in a really nice way because I feel like it really hits that emotional high around them
Yeah,
because
it's
about
like
the
the
beginning story.
storytelling.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like way of storytelling. It goes like the rising conflict, and then
Hmm.
like the climax would be like the title track, and then goes down, and then
Yeah,
calms it,
yeah,
yeah, calms the waters and all that. So it's just yeah,
hmm, yeah,
really great. Like try to like production, and when it comes to like having um yeah, like a way of like you have having that kind of like feeling like you're in a story, like you're in the story, like you're listening to a story with
hmm,
Epik High. So really great way of like doing that and building, composing like the songs in that way.
yeah. Is there any other tracks off of Epic High's Here Part Two that you really vibed with the standout tracks?
No, not that much. I think yeah, I think those two
Okay,
were like my standouts.
okay.
How about you,
Um,
Jenny?
I have one more I want to point out, and I think that's Champagne, which is the final track on the album. I think it just is a great finale to the album because it kind of just
Mm,
ties together everything. It kind of leaves you almost like in a hopeful place at the
yeah,
end,
I see
considering
it.
how dark some of the points do get in the album with some of the lyrics. Like sometimes
Right.
you do feel like, are you okay? Like you kind of reach out and like you want to pick up the phone, like, are you okay? And like I feel like at the end, Champagne really it kind of does leave you that point where you're like, okay, I think like they got off everything out of their chests
I
and
got
like
everything off the chest. Okay, it's time to celebrate.
and, and and then they're able to celebrate like their successes as well as their faults and be able to like move on into the future and onto this like new chapter in their lives. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I thought it was a really great closing to this story that this narrative this album has. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this album is going to go on my list top 10. Like, it's going to be a contender for me because it just has a great narrative overall.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I really
and it's
appreciate like,
great
albums that take time to
storytelling.
like do like the kind of like, build their album with that more detailed and, more, yeah, like, yeah,
Mhm.
more, at heart with it.
Right. Exactly. So it's just, and then it's just overall, throughout the entire album, it's just great lo-fi hip hop. If you're a fan of lo-fi, like that throwback 80s, 90s hip hop, like this is your jam. Like, this is, and you want to get in, if you want to get into Korean hip hop, like, really check this
Epic
out. There's a
High.
lot of featured artists on this album from featured like singers like Yuna and Lee, as well as like featured other hip hop artists like PH1 and CK and Gary Boy and a lot of other amazing hip hop artists in Korea. And so this is just a great album to kind of get like a taste of what Korean hip hop is. And like again, the Epic High is like one of the pioneers of Korean hip hop. So
Right.
this is a great way to start your journey into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really glad that we get more people like Cedric, like or new fans of Epic High. So
Mhm.
yeah, we hopefully this review and like we get like more attraction or we get like more people recognizing and exploring more Korean hip hop in a way.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that that don't like take like the hip hop itself as like appropriating it like, in that manner, but more of like being inspired with the music itself and doing things that from your own heart, like from your own soul.
And
to do a lot to do a lot of things like when an Epik High would do.
Yeah, and like I said, and it's kind of fun actually listening to this album. Like I could really see the inspiration here. I could really see the inspiration of like where Suga gets like a lot of his like producing like style and his kind of feature.
Of course.
Like, I could really
just the rap line like from RM and I think RM and Suga especially.
Because both of them are big fans of Epik High, so like I can really see where that influence kind of really tied into BTS. I saw lyricism. So
like I was listening to like the album, like now I see why with BTS. Now I see why. It's like we have like more like those types of music with BTS though. Like
I know, I miss it. I really do miss it from BTS. I do miss a lot of the hip hop days of BTS. I know some of it's cringy, but some of it was really good. So. Yeah,
because like we had like this one person who thought like BTS is more of the pop group sense. So that's why we like saying just go listen to their hip hop, because they also do like some hardcore shit. They go hardcore too, but
go listen to Dark and Wild.
We digress. Or like their solo, like the rap line solo stuff too.
Yeah. Go listen to Solo, which apparently because it was just J-Hope's birthday the other day. He's teasing a new mixtape actually. So.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
So, but yeah, let's get into our next album. We're halfway through. I'll say that we are halfway through our reviews.
Halfway there.
But yeah, let's get into our other girl group of the week, and another long-running girl group too, who released music after a while, because it's been I think about 2 years since Apink dropped any new music. I think Dum Dum came out like mid 2020, if I remember correctly. So it's been a while since Apink's had some new music. And that's with their new album Horn, with their title track Dilemma. And I guess I want to hear what you had to think, what you thought of Apink. I don't know if you had listened to any Apink in the past or anything like that.
Actually, the thing is, this is my first journey when it comes to like listening to Apink itself, and I kind of realized that they've been going at it like since like 2011. So I was like kind of surprised, like oh shit, like that long. So yeah, I don't really have much of like that experience to like have like a good impression and like some good knowledge of like Apink's discography. So I think my newcomer impression for their special album, their song their title track Dilemma gives me a lot of like like a bit of like old school type of like a bit of like the second gen style of like with girl group pop. And I think the one that really like caught, like I think I really loved the most was like the chorus line of Dilemma, because it brings me a lot of like the Euro pop dance flavor into it with that added horn sax that they did at the background. And yeah, I think that's what I really stuck to me the most. It has like a lot of like like club dance into it, like something that you would hear from like the late 2000s or like the early 2010s era of music. So yeah, because I was kind of worried. I was getting worried like it's falling into like like this typical girl group type of sound. But I think when it got to the chorus, it really like has a distinguished like style of Apink's. And also the music video got a lot some LGBTQ elements into it, because a lot of like those interactions between those members like seem so intimate too.
Yeah, no, it's very there's a lot of interesting potential LGBTQ moments in the music video. But yeah, I mean, it's a little more subdued than I think their last two releases. I remember I was really getting into K-pop at this point when and Dum Dum came out back in 2020. It was like right around when the Panini started, I feel like. And I know Un was like really, really like hitting like the charts. It was like everywhere. And
Oh,
it's a
really?
little bit more brasher, a little bit more in your face than this. Feels really real back a little bit, but it definitely feels like something that might be because Apink's been really, really considered like the girl next door kind of group, like from their
Oh,
debut.
really?
Like yeah, they've been considered to be always like that kind of the girl next door, like really kind of
The
like
sweet girl type of
the
like
sweet girl. Like,
nature.
compared to like they really have never like really had like that super like sexy, I guess quote unquote, like sound to
Oh,
them. They've always kind
yeah.
of I mean they kind of developed into a mature sound I think later in their careers, but they've always kind of had like a sweeter sound to them.
Yeah, I think I've heard I know I've heard Apink before, but I never got into the music itself, or I
Mm-hmm.
never explored it. But yeah, I've heard like there's some kind of like that reputation. What I think I think it for Apink, like they're like the sweet girl, like the girl next door type of like
Mm-hmm.
vibe with their music. So yeah, I think it's kind of getting back to me with like that describe when you describe Apink in a way. Because I know, like
Yeah.
when I was watching like the top 10 girl groups, like before, like think they included Apink with that
Mm-hmm.
description. It's like okay, I think I see how it is.
Yeah, I mean, because they've been, like I said, they've been around since 2011. They're in their
Yeah.
11th year together now. With the six of them, these have a seventh member, and I know they're now six. I can't remember what happened to
Oh,
the
I see.
seventh when she left. And it's interesting now because one of the members now is technically not signed with the label IST. She's under a different label, but she's still promoting with Apink. And I think this is the first comeback that she's now officially not part of IST.
Oh,
Um, so, because I know with promotions, it's been kind of funny with her because she's busy with other stuff right now. Um, but yeah, I feel like this, like I said, this is a little more subdued. Because like I said, I was kind of surprised this was the comeback, after being a while. But like, yeah, I agree. It does pick up a little bit in the chorus, but it is very, very subdued in a way, compared to a lot
hmm.
of like the girl group music we see out there nowadays, especially with this
Yeah,
first
yeah. Yeah, it feels
girl
like
group.
because it feels like they like even though I haven't listened to Apink that much, it feels like
Mhm.
they've matured in age to me. Like I think I can like assume like they really matured that much from their age. Cause yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Dilemma sounds really like a more adult, like not like full on like full
mhm.
on mature content, but it's just like has that that sub that subtle touch into it, especially when it
Yeah,
comes to like like during like the scenarios of like their music video as well.
yeah, I agree with that. So, yeah, like I said, it's like I said, it's kind of nice to see like them kind of characters. They're like that borderline second, third generation era of music. So they're kind of bridging the gap of those two eras of music. So like you can see elements of both in their music. But again, it's still kind of in that like more kind of sweet girl next door. But I feel like this can potentially sometimes have a little bit darker edges, but not a lot really super darker edge to it. Which can be good or bad depending on what your tastes are. So
Yeah.
but is there
I
anything?
think after a lot of like listening to a lot of girl groups, I can kind of like
Mhm.
see like the same the same factions of like what makes like a girl, the standard girl
Yeah.
group. But I think they really save themselves with the dilemma chorus. Yeah, going back again with that dilemma. Now that thing is stuck in my head now, like dilemma, 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 dilemma. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh
I think
man,
the chorus saved them on that one because it could have gone a different way, but I think the chorus definitely saved it. In the song, I agree with that.
yeah.
Is there anything else off of Horn? Because I mean, Horn is a long album. Because again, this is another full length album.
I was kind of shocked. Like, oh man, like another like full length album. Like,
I
yeah,
know.
um, yeah. I think I have two actually from like that
Mhm.
album. So two, the first one would being Red Carpet. Because I really love like it brings such more glamour pop into it brings
Mhm.
back that the glamour pop from like the late 90s to 2000s in a way. I think that's like the kind of sound that would come from that era, and it's really
Mhm.
highly energetic and electrifying with the way how they produce the music. And the second one being Single Rider. I really love like the 90s hip hop. It really feels like you're like going back in time with that music. Kind of reminds me of something that J-Lo would probably do, because it kind of reminds me of like Jenny from the Block, or like some of her other songs in the 90s. But yeah, those two songs.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I really liked Nothing, although it really ends. I will say that, like, I was listening to it, and also just kind of weirdly ended. I was like, I don't think somebody edited that correctly, but and the production side, but I really did like kind of like the catchy the catchy na 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 Nothing. It's really really catchy. I really really like that. Another catchy kind of chorus from Apink. I did like Free in Love as well. It's got this very, again, kind of very 70s disco sound to it. I don't know, I'm like in the 70s disco all of a sudden again. It's coming back around for me, apparently. But there's something about it that makes it really fun and dancey. Just really wants me to groove. And then I really liked Just Like This, which had this very kind of groovy R&B vibe. Felt very lo-fi R&B throughout, and again had a bit of a bop to it as well, and I really dug that. Maybe tiny bit more than Dilemma. I think I like Just Like This a little bit more than Dilemma, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was actually a pretty good release. Also to note on this album, the final track, Thank You, I think was it technically their 10th anniversary release from last year, and they placed it at the end of the album, kind of just like a repackaged thing. Because that was they had like 10th anniversary, like thank you to their fans.
We always have that kind of like track, from groups, like whenever they're celebrating their anniversary, like thank you fans, or we love you fans.
Especially a big anniversary like that. I mean, 10 years is a big anniversary for a group. So so yeah, for them, and it's I know they're promoting this heavily right now because I mean, like I said, they haven't had a new release in a while. So and they are a pretty beloved group out there too, so especially in Korea. So I think this will be very interesting to see how well this performs on the charts as well as on music shows and stuff too. Because I mean, like I said, there's a lot of competition out there right now.
Tough and like really tight competition too.
Especially with like some of the stuff that just is coming out and will come out too. So it'll be very interesting to see how well it performs. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought like there's some good, there's just some on it, but I thought it looked okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It's pretty much how I felt with the album.
Considering the two amazing albums between Taeyeon and Epik High, it was a hard hurdle to cross.
Yeah.
So between those two albums, but yeah, those takes us to our Valentine's Day releases, which apparently they're like all the album releases of the week, the full album releases of the week.
Hey, something for like to enjoy for Valentine's Day. It could be like love related, or heartbreak related, or just like just you want to have fun.
Pretty much
for the singles out there, for us singles.
But yeah, let's get into our next release, our second to last release of the week. That's easier said. Another long-awaited release too, especially for the fandom, because it's been a long time. Again, YG's Dungeon, gotta love it.
Yeah, YG things.
Just YG things. And of course, we're talking about the fourth generation group Treasure, with their, I feel like this is the third or fourth EP. I've lost track now. But this is called the Second Step Chapter 1. So I'm assuming this is like the beginning of like this new era of Treasure.
Yeah.
Once again, that YG thing, they're only dropping 4 tracks at one time. Because, of course. So. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're kind of like getting like flustered here, but you go ahead, because I don't know where we're going.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. Yeah, but they're back. They're back with this new EP. It's an EP because it's only 4 tracks. With the title track,
I know.
Jikjin, which I think translates to straight in Korean, if I'm correct.
Yeah, straight to or like straight over or something like that kind of phrase.
Yeah, but they're promoting it as Jikjin, with the Hangul as well as the Romanized Hangul throughout. So they're really going hard on that Jikjin. And I will say this, it's very YG.
No kidding, man. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, like whenever I heard like, oh, please don't tell me we're gonna be like, we're gonna like go with this or with this thing, and like, yep, they did it.
We're straight
like,
YG again.
Yeah, it's just when I heard the title track, and then a lot of things, a lot of like a lot of parts that reminds me, or like that are so reminiscent to like past YG, like their past YG predecessors, such as Big Bang, Icon, Blackpink as well. And it's getting to the part like where like, is it like bad or not bad? Okay, let me rephrase it. Is it getting like too like formulaic when it comes to like YG produced music? Because we already know like we're kind of predicted like they're gonna like go with this next, and then and when we were right on our assumptions.
I don't know. It's very predictable with what YG is going to do and their producers and everything. It's super predictable. Like the breakdowns, the production, just how it's all layered together. It's
the coda where it gets into like a faster like tempo at the end.
Yeah. Even the breakdowns in the chorus, like although that the way it broke down kind of caught me off guard for a second because it's just very disjointed.
It's almost like a staccato, like staccato composed of like with the jin and like with the sounds like do 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 do, like very like choppy in a way.
Very robotic and choppy, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like to know. Like, I would also like to know who the producer was behind this.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say that too. Like, wait, who produced this? Like, it can't be like Teddy Park, isn't it?
No, it's not Teddy.
It would be something else.
It's not Teddy Park. No,
okay,
it's not
yeah.
Teddy. But yeah, it's let's see, the arrangements by Future Bounce, LP and Trace 37. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Like, what else? What other songs did they produce other than this one?
They basically, Trace 37 basically produced most of this album. It looks like, I think it's probably like their main producer on this album. I mean, it's just like it's so predictable. Like the YG like formula is just so predictable. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, like kind of like even the vocalization sounded very Icon to me, like early Icon.
Very much so.
Bling. Like the Jig Jin, it sounded very bling bling. Like
yeah, especially with the Jig Jin, it almost like bling bling.
The stylization is very close. And yeah, it's just it's straight up YG hip hop, honest to God. Like,
yeah,
I know Two Mains are gonna eat it all up because they do every single time. But like even the final like break at the end of it, like final dance break, felt very Blackpink in a way too. Like it's all like things I've seen from other groups of YG, and I just it's like there's nothing new, nothing innovative out there.
Right.
So
yeah, it's getting like with YGs, like we already know like what they're gonna like do with it. Like we already know how they're gonna be promoting, like their groups, which kind of like I was when I like was trying to like listen to like the songs, I was kind of surprised like, oh wow, it's like just like 4 tracks, and I realized, oh yeah, it's YG. What did you expect?
I know, it's like it's the same old from YG in the dungeon. It's like, and it's so hard, like again, because it's so hard because YG is so inconsistent with their releases. Like it's hard for me to distinguish any kind of like sound or distinct like sound or color for Treasure, like to distinguish them among other Girls Generation groups, like from like Stray Kids or from ATEEZ or from Tomorrow by Together or from In Hyphen or from I guess the boys technically third or fourth generation at this point. I'm not 100% sure. They're like that borderline group. But like any of those groups, like they all have a distinct sound, a distinct color that makes them them. I haven't found that yet in Treasure, even though they've had 4 EPs. I haven't seen that yet because the releases are so inconsistent. Like the release dates are so inconsistent, and it's just again the same old YG recycled, thing. So it's hard for me to like fall in love for a group when I've heard the same thing in the past. Like I can't get over that, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing much I could really stood out to me with this, since they only have like 4 tracks in their list, so it's not much where I can really pull out of it. I think the only one that that I was more engaged with was what was the title? I think it was You, the song You. It has more of a different sound into with the rest of their songs in the album, because it has a more funk pop style with it.
Yeah, and I feel like the other 3 songs, they're more stripped down. Like they're a little bit more melodic, especially the last one, the last song on the album too, at least on the digital version, because apparently on the CD version there's 2 extra songs. But on It's Okay, I feel like that was really, really stripped down and more instrumentation on it. But again, it's also really, really hard when it's a group of 12 people for me to distinguish anybody's vocal distinction, because you're bouncing 12 different people between your rappers and your vocalists in this group. And so it's really hard to give everyone the time to shine. I feel like 17 does it really, really well with 13 of them. But they all have very, distinct voices and colors to their vocality that makes it easier for me to distinguish them and then give them each a unique sound. Whereas they're kind of all blend together for me in 17, or not for 17, for Treasure. So it's hard for me to distinguish anybody.
Yeah, because I know how YG specializes in hip hop most of all, and I know they're trying to get the more those more figures like G-Dragon into their mix, but it's still, or even Mino to some extent, with Icon or Bobby, but it's not being identified with Treasure, because they're still the young boy group. And for me, I don't think that they're at that age where they go with the more down and dirty type of concepts yet, because they're more more innocent, and but also the concept of them with the car, that's the Fast and Furious car concept that we've seen outside of just YG, and then it's kind of getting old as well. It's because everyone does that now, and it's just Gravity did that with My Turn. And then they have more. They have more distinguished sound, with Gravity, but with how YG is handling and producing, for Treasures, they don't have anything that really identifies with them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the whole Fast and Furious thing, because I've seen that with NCT Dream. I've seen that with, obviously we saw it just with Gravity not that long ago. Yeah, and I feel like Gravity definitely did it leaps and bounds better than this.
A lot of boy groups. A lot of boy groups have a car theme, into that. So
a car theme is pretty easy, to pull off. Honestly, it's nothing distinctively creative. And so yeah, it's I don't know if it disappoints me. I don't know if disappointment's a harsh term, but maybe it is disappointment that it's already sitting at 22.5 million views already on YouTube with Jikjin for the music video, and I'm just really? I know Tumeis are going to eat this up, because there are a lot of Tumeis out there, which again is their fandom name, but and there's other smaller groups that I feel definitely need more recognition out there, in 4th generation boy groups, like P1 Harmony, and I'm trying to think of other 4th gen groups that are not getting the views, but P1 Harmony is the first one that comes to my mind, who I feel definitely deserves the views, but don't get it because they're from a small, label. They're from FNC. So, and they have a very distinctive sound to them, and are really think a little more innovative with their music videos. But yeah, I don't know. It's the same old YG recycled. It sounds harsh, but it's true.
Yeah, they kind of feel like nothing much to say, because we reviewed or we've kind of reviewed this like something similar with other groups too, especially when it comes to YG. So it's like,
Yeah.
what more there is to say?
Like I feel like the last thing Icon released, YYY was actually at least a little bit more distinctive from YG.
Oh.
Like that's the last distinctive thing from YG I feel like that we've reviewed from YG. And that was that was right around Kingdom time last year, because that was right around when Fireworks came out for ATEEZ, because they were literally promoting that at the same time, when they were all both competing on Kingdom. So it's, I don't know, YG, I just like this is the reason I think why they're kind of falling on the wayside in terms of like the quote unquote big four now, in terms of the agencies, because they're just not innovating anymore. They're just kind of stuck in their ways. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately. And plus, like, I don't know, even though like they've been making gangbusters, because, a lot of fans like a lot of YG's groups, especially, Big Bang, or, Blackpink most of all. Of course, they would, come out to support, Treasure.
Right.
But yeah, I know, but it's, kind of getting really hard to like, really be into like the music if if they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it comes down to at the end. So
yeah.
So just like YG, I don't know, just be a little more innovative. Like there's
promote your artist better.
that too. Though I mean, it sounds like YG's trying to promote artists better than 2022 as it is. I mean, we got a Big Bang comeback happening. I mean, we'll see what happens with Winter. Since they announced their concert, who knows if we'll get a release from them before the other two go into the military. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with YG this year. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens with the Big Bang comeback, honestly, now. Because, like, if this
I think, I really hope they put a lot of effort with Big Bang. Because
me too.
Man, if YG under promotes them, like, they're really currently doing with Treasure, that's going to be like, it's going to have like a big backlash for the fans already criticizing, YG, like just do something, just do something with your groups, man. It's
like poking with the stick. Do something, it's a lot of that. But
yeah, like I think like they've been like, I think they were apparently they're gonna have like Treasure showcase or like promote like next week instead of like because during like when they release like a song, they have like them already perform live too, so it's kind of weird that they're like pushing them next week.
Yeah, that's weird with their comeback that they're doing the showcase the following week when none of them have COVID or anything like that. Like I understand with the whole NMIX one, they're pushing it because of COVID, but usually they do like the showcase like the day the album comes out or
it's
the
released.
Comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, like I haven't heard that much like trending with them Treasure as well. Like I don't know if it's because of like my filters that in Twitter, but I don't hear anything a lot with Treasure. It's like that's why I was kind of surprised. Like, oh, it's already out. I didn't hear why didn't I hear like anything from it?
Yeah, same with me too. I mean, although my Twitter is mostly taken over by ATEEZ and Stray Kids. So
yeah.
Those are my filters mostly. Though I try to be as much multi as I can out there on Twitter, but
yeah, at the same time, I would see like like trending like hashtags too on Twitter. So like I would have seen it, but there's nothing. I didn't see any Treasure like Treasure Jigjin or hashtags like
Which is surprising because they've been the fandom's usually pretty socially active on Twitter, and that I know.
Yeah, they're getting a fair amount of views too on YouTube, but I think they need to do more as well in other streaming platforms.
Well, I don't know. Well, like I said, they were Mama's Choice top 10 group last year, so I'm sure.
Yeah. At least they had their fans. Their fans are really pushing them, other than YG.
That they are, but. Should we get into our last review of the week then? Our review.
Do we have to?
Yeah,
I think we can skip over.
And I'm surprised this didn't reach. Well, I don't know if we should have waited on our playlist because this could have been added to our playlist last week. But maybe it's a good
Yeah,
thing
but
it
actually, I
didn't.
have like something surprising to say about this song though.
Oh,
But
really?
let's yeah let's go let's introduce let's introduce the
Okay. Let
next or the
me
last.
let me introduce it, and then we'll get into it. But this is Wonho's latest single. It's a single release. It's only 2 songs, but it's Obsession. But the title track technically being he's promoting is "I on You." The other single off of it is "Somebody," which I think was in full English, if I
This
remember
is the full
correctly.
English track. Because
Yeah.
usually he would like have his like title track from Korean be an English version. Because I thought like
Mhm.
he'd be doing that for "Eye on You," but it's actually he has like another B side that's just an English track.
Yeah, because he does have a lot of international fans, so he does do quite a
Mhm.
few English releases. I mean, he had a couple English. I think he had an English release on Love Sin and then Part Two, if I remember that correctly from last year. Um, but yeah, I mean, but I guess let's get into it. What did you think of "I on You"? Now I'm curious.
Okay, well, because usually when it comes to Wonho and how we like,
Mhm.
I guess, presents himself, after leaving Monsta X, like he really like specializes in his visuals, especially when it comes to like his physique
Hmm.
and like having like some like really like the right outfits to really like like show out his body features and all of that, and everyone he's like the ultimate thirst trap for in K-pop right now, or he's one of the ultimate thirst traps out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with this is the surprising thing. I wasn't like paying attention to his visuals at all. I was really like going more into his music. I think the music
Mhm.
is the one that stands out more than just like his visual itself, and to me that's a good thing. 'Cause I appreciate that he's not really like I guess like displaying more of his like his his body just to like get more like like get more of like the viewerships and all that.
Mhm.
But he really
Mhm.
does like rely on his like the music itself more. Like even though
Yeah.
in some parts of like the music it has him ripping out his shirt, but I wasn't like getting like I wasn't like really like too like shocked to see it. Like okay, like but I'm still like the music still is like really grabbing onto me.
Mhm.
And this one, like I know, like he does, like I think he really, he really has a knack on having like this really heavy bass, like or like the bass, like in his songs, especially when you listen to like his debut song, "Open Mind" and even "Lose," like the bass really like plays such a big role in like in his solo songs. But
Mhm.
with this, I think it plays even a bigger role because it has like has more variety into how it's being played. The song "Eye on You" has like a more house dance beat into it, like more so than like his "Open Mind" or "Loose," like his sophomore track. Because with this one, yeah, with this one, like the bass really like goes into like more of like a catchy rhythm and beat, and adding more like diversity with like not just having like this like the same monotone type of like beat riff, but there
Mhm.
are times when you have like those quiet moments where it has like a smoother like smoother tone, and they get when it goes to the chorus, it has like a more it drops hard, and it has like a more aggressive like sound into it, and it becomes like more powerful. So it really does like has like the moments where it's pulled back and then it goes like heavier and louder, and it takes you to like unpredictable turns as well, so which I really appreciate because in, I think if you notice in the second chorus, because when you originally think like it was gonna drop like right into the chorus hits, but there's like
Mhm.
the part when he like goes into the chorus and it's a bit more quiet, and then it takes you, yeah, it's more smoother, and then it goes like hits you again with like the more louder beat. So it's a really surprising song to like listen to, and I really like that he like every time like he does his songs, like he adds more, like he adds like a post chorus in the second part of the song, like you heard it with "Open Mind," and now with this I like how it like elongates more into like the song, and it doesn't become like really sound the same almost. So yeah, that's pretty much what I thought of with this song.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. Like, I mean, I was definitely getting vibes of Lose on this. Like, it has, um, it has like kind of feels like a continuation of that. Also kind of these like undercurrents of like, because again, he's signed under like a subsidiary of Starship, so there's some like like undercurrent vibes of like what I saw with Monsta X fingerprints of like from like No Limit underneath throughout the song itself. Like I really kind of felt that kind of vibe throughout the undercurrent of the song, and I really dug the song. Like it's definitely it feels very voguey and very runway, and like yeah, I mean it's really nice. Like I mean, yeah, obviously he's a visual in a different way from other K-pop idols because he's more masculine in his visual stance. I mean, he's really, really proud of his body. And not in a vain way, in a really, I think, in a really proud way. But yeah, this was definitely like he really was showcasing his vocal talents and his songwriting talents on this one, and you could tell he's been growing on everything as of late, and like you can tell every single release he's had, he's growing and becoming more confident, I think, as a songwriter and as a musician, as a solo musician.
Like an artist, itself.
Yeah, so, and like, I really like, and just some of the imagery too throughout the music video, but outside of just himself, like, I think I love some of the imagery throughout because it's just like this very almost like
the wolf, the big bad wolf type of like, like imagery in there.
Yeah, the big bad wolf kind of vibe, and then there's still this all the underrunning current like throughout all of his music videos with like the chains and stuff too. Like there's been that kind of symbolism all the way throughout all of his music videos. That's just been tying everything together, I guess, and quote unquote his universe, if you want to consider that, I guess, if there is a universe for him. But there's like the symbolism that he's always playing with in his imagery with his music videos. So it's nice to kind of see that continue on. And yeah, just to see his growth as an artist, and him being very proud of his growth as an artist too, because I was just watching his interview, because he was on Show Tribute with Jesse this week, and he was you can tell he's so immensely proud of all the work he's putting in and just growing as an artist and being super successful thanks to his fans, to We Need. So they really are, because considering everything that happened, and it's really nice to see this, and like yeah, I love the sound too, like this very almost mature-ish clubby sound he has.
It almost feels like another Daft Punk example of like the music itself. It's not like something we hear like Daft Punk would produce for Tron, like the Tron movies.
Yeah, it almost kind of does. There's like some of this like Daft Punk like EDM electronic underneath it too.
Yeah, the dance, the dance vibe too as well.
Yeah, no, and I really like this. Like I said, I think every release I've seen from Wonho, it gets better and better and better, and like it really makes me look forward to like everything that comes from him for a solo release. It's just I'm just super excited to see every release, and like can't wait to see like another album come from him, hopefully later this year. Considering this is just a single release. I just wanted to see, what did you think of the English song Somebody? I guess if you want to wrap up with that.
I think since I prefer the Eye on You half better. For Somebody, I think it feels another like another example of a more American inspired type of pop, because it has like moments where you hear the alt rock pop sound coming out of like the song. Yeah, and I think it feels more American made. Like I don't want to assume, but it feels like someone from the U.S. producing this type of song for his single album.
And it could have. I don't know the production side of it, unfortunately, and I unfortunately can't find it online anywhere right now. It does feel a little bit more American made, and I think he's been working with, because I feel like sometimes he does work with like American or at least Western artists and art producers and songmakers and stuff too for some of his like English stuff. So not that that's a knock towards him, but it definitely feels a little bit more Western than K-pop.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it works for him. It kind of works for his sound, but yeah, it's a little bit more Western sounding. Like it's something you could play on a top 40 station if you wanted. I mean, it probably wouldn't play for long, but um, and almost like it has some elements of blues in there. I felt a tiny bit, but like not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think "Eyes on Me" is a way stronger song, and obviously the promoted title track, for him. And like I said, like if we're doing more stuff like that, like that's what I want to see from Wonho. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hopefully he continues more of his artistry, and like he improves more with his music as well.
Me too.
He doesn't have to rely on his looks all the time. As much as we look respectingly with his, respectfully with his, with his looks, but he also respect with his, his artistry as well.
We always look with respect. Always.
Yeah, I was kind of like having my own dilemma, and like, should I share this should I share this music video, or like do I want to get ragged on by Cedric?
Thankfully this one's a little bit safer, although I'm not gonna lie, I think that one shirt with all the holes on it, that one's a little suggestive, but that's probably what is suggestive.
Yeah, but it's not as much as like Open Mind or like or even Lose to that state.
True. We've seen worse from Wonho. Although I think I have the one outfit, the white outfit with all the like belts and stuff.
Oh,
I swear to God, is he wearing a leash? Is that a leash around his neck?
He has like a lot of like chain aesthetics too. Like we don't want to assume, but he's done. Yeah, he added or he included some chain imagery in from from Loose, and now he's kind of continuing on from with INVU. But I think it's more of like a sinister standpoint, I guess, when it comes to like with that using that using like chains for like something else. So it's. I know he's doing like the big bad wolf type of like concept, so I can see why he would do that.
Yeah.
Hey, another wolf into like the wolf Kpop wolf tribe.
There's so many wolves as of right now. I'm just gonna throw him right into the wolf gang.
The vampires and the vampires versus the wolves in the Kpop.
I'm still waiting for that supposed other group from Big Hit Entertainment their debut that might be werewolf. I don't know. It's a theory. I have no idea if that's true or not. Theory, potentially. I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna do it for our reviews for the week. We got through it. We got through 6 reviews.
Yep.
Oh my God, that was a marathon of reviews. But yeah, like I said, next week, I know we're probably gonna talking probably about B2B, and I think we're gonna probably be talking about
Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy with their new comeback, which I'm excited for too. I'm actually excited for both of them. We might have to touch on Tribe as well, because I know Tribe released music this past week, but we didn't want to add it to this mix of everything because we had a lot this week. They just came back yesterday, the 17th, so we didn't want to add that to our mess of craziness that we're reviewing this week. So we might review Tribe as well. And then, like I said, we've had delays with debuts and stuff, so we'll just have to keep you guys posted on those debuts and everything. And hopefully COVID cases go down in Korea. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we should hope so. Like, we should hope so. Like we're, I'm still expecting seeing a lot of like news like this, the idol gets COVID, and every time I scroll down on social media.
Like, who's got COVID now? So I'm just waiting until tomorrow morning. Wake up and
like a game show. It sounds like a sick game show.
It's a horrible game show. Who's got COVID today? But before I apparently jinx somebody into getting COVID, Ginny, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Ginny Leano. That's GINNYLEANO. You can also check out my design pages. Facebook at Ginny Leano Designs, Instagram at Ginny Designs, and hopefully you can find my other personal pages because I always put links in there and tags. And might I add, because it's like some self promotion here. I've been invited to do like an art showcase to showing a lot of my design work. So if anyone is in Edmonton, And if you're interested in, seeing, coming into seeing a lot of the art showcase and art exhibits, feel free to, I will, put up tickets. I will put up like the information on Instagram from @Juna Designs and maybe @RCL_Imegujin. And hopefully I can, see you there, and hopefully, buy enough tickets so you can check out a lot of more great artworks from other people in Edmonton. So that will be on March 10th, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Back to you, Jenny.
And you can find me, Jenny. You can find me over on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenny Matasek. That's Jenny with an I, Matasek. You can also find me over on Twitter and on Instagram @Chaos Bulldog. You can also find the show pages for the Noonas podcast over on Twitter and on Instagram @Noonas_podcast. Don't forget the underscore. You can also find our show, our SoundCloud version of our show, if you want to listen to the audio only version of the show, over on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Noonas podcast, all one word. Or if you want to check out the video form of our show, where Jenny posts amazing pictures each and every week, so you have some visual reference material for how for all the things we're talking about here on the show, because we do talk about a lot of people on the show. You can check out the video form of our show over on Facebook and on YouTube. Just search for the Noonas podcast over on those platforms. We do link them on our Twitter and Instagram each and every time we go live with a new episode. Make sure to like and subscribe, and just keep on sticking around for some new stuff. But this has been an episode of the Noonas podcast. Go support your local artists. Go support Jenny. If I could afford to fly to Edmonton, I would fly to Edmonton to go support her. I was just looking up plane tickets before, and unfortunately it's like $500 to fly from Chicago to Edmonton in March. But I would totally fly to from Chicago to Edmonton to see her. So
I appreciate the thought, Jenny.
But yeah, if you guys can go support her, that'd be awesome. Support your local artists. Support your local artists, fan artists. Just support your artists in general.
Support all artists.
So we support all artists. Screw NFTs, because NFTs are stupid.
Yep.
I'm going to go back to NFT rant.
It's gonna be like that South Park episode, like one of the characters promoting NFTs, and then he gets sprayed on by he gets sprayed on, and then gets the foam on him. Have you ever heard of NFTs?
Oh my god, I know. The whole NFT thing is just driving me nuts now. It's so bad. I'm seeing so many other groups trying to or agencies trying to promote NFTs, and I'm like, no, stop. I don't want them.
I know. Can the creators of South Park that make a movie just calling out all celebrities, because even and Hollywood celebrities are hopping on the bandwagon. I don't think they have any idea what's what they're affecting.
It's just the new hippest thing, and because it's all crypto, and I don't believe in crypto either. Yeah, I don't believe in crypto.
I was so mad with that Super Bowl commercial. That Super Bowl where you scan a QR code, it's a crypto,
oh god, we were all mad about that.
that is worse than a Rickroll.
That was, oh my god, yeah. Our Super Bowl live stream was fun. We were together watching Super Bowl. That was fun. Fun times on Discord. No, we'll be back next week again with more music, more maybe news. We'll see. Anything major breaks. Hopefully nothing super major. Horribly will break by our next episode, but we'll see. But until our next episode, fighting.